Coming up on the second hour of American Sunrise, the House finally ready to vote on releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files. President Trump now behind the move, calling for Republicans in Congress to approve it. We're going to have analysis straight ahead. Plus, a shakeup for the midterms. The Supreme Court taking up a case centering on a Mississippi law that allows mail-in ballots to be counted up to 5 days after an election. We're going to find out how that decision will affect these upcoming midterms in 2026. And later, voters sounding off on the outcome of the 43-day shutdown battle. New polling data revealing who Americans believe won that fight and which political party is left licking their wounds now that the dust has settled. We have those stories and more as the second hour of American Sunrise starts right now. Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second hour of American Sunrise. I'm David Brody, coming to you from D.C. Let's bring in Dr. G in West Palm and T. Bates in our Denver newsroom. Hi, guys. So finally,
Hi, guys.
Today's the day. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hey. Oh, gosh. I reverted to I'm 14 years old. Hey, what's up? Today's the day. The Epstein files vote in the House. Finally, Gina, it's here.
Why does it seem a little anticlimactic? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll just see. I don't know. We'll see what's going to be redacted. We'll see, it's
Right.
just, there's a lot to see. You can release things all day long. I could release all my diaries right here on this show if I just had a big black marker and I could just scribble through the whole thing, right? So we'll see. I do hope that we can get some justice for the families and for the girls who were very young when this happened to them. They deserve justice. I live right here in Palm Beach. I ride past the place exactly where all of this took place on my boat a lot. So maybe that's why I'm so passionate about it, because it's literally right across from me. And I think about those girls. They've actually they're knocking the house down and rebuilding something, because it's like a murder scene, to people in Palm Beach.
Yeah, sure.
And so I pray for those families, those girls, that they can get some closure through this somehow. I don't know.
For sure.
Well, David and Dr. Gina, as you mentioned, happening today, the U.S. House is expected to vote on that measure that would force the Justice Department to publicly release all documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. President Trump on board now with this idea, saying that he'll sign the measure if it makes it to his desk. In the meantime, former Treasury Secretary and Harvard University President Larry Summers says he is stepping back from his public commitments to, quote, rebuild trust and repair relationships with the people closest to me. The move comes after the recent release of Epstein emails showing that Summers continued a relationship with Epstein even after the child molester pleaded guilty to soliciting prostitution from an underage girl. In a statement, Summers says, I am deeply ashamed of my actions and recognize the pain they have caused. I take full responsibility for my misguided decision to continue communicating with Mr. Epstein. President Trump's plan to secure and govern Gaza passes the United Nations Security Council, but is rejected by Hamas. The resolution would install a transitional authority called the Board of Peace, which would lay out a future path to an independent Palestinian state. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is supporting the plan, saying, quote, we believe that President Trump's plan will lead to peace and prosperity because it insists upon full demilitarization, disarmament, and the de-radicalization of Gaza. That's a quick check of your headlines. Now let's get a quick check of your forecast with meteorologist Tracy Anthony. By the way, we're going to put up our QR code for Weather Nation here at the bottom of your screen. Go ahead, scan that QR code and join our team over at Weather Nation. But Tracy, one of my favorite parts of the show, it's time for the hometown forecast. Good morning.
Oh, yeah. And we've got a lot of activity in the hometowns that were sent in to us on our social media channels. So, Chicago, this is from It's V9 Live, and you're dealing with some rain showers here this morning. We've got a big system that's moving on through, and this low pressure center is bringing Chicago some rain, but also a nice little snow belt between the Twin Cities and Detroit here this morning. Also could have some severe weather to the south this afternoon, but also Huntsville, Alabama. This is from Johnston 7. You're going to have a dry, warm forecast over the next couple of days. Fire danger going to be a bigger concern out across the southeast, and we've also been waking up to several mornings of some dense fog along the Gulf Coast. But now we're going to take you out west to Mesa, Arizona. This is from Blossom 46 on Rumble. A soaker of a week for Mesa, Arizona. This is right near the Phoenix metro area, and they do have flooding concerns. So over the next couple of days, we're going to see the chance for more rain to impact these areas, and the desert Southwest, they just can't take on a lot of water. So even a quarter of an inch can onset flash flooding very quickly here across the Southwest. So those are the systems we're watching, and then it's going to be warm for the Southeast. Terrence?
All right, Tracy, we appreciate it. Always good to see you. We'll see you tomorrow, okay?
You as well.
All right. Remember, you see that QR code there at the bottom of your screen, folks. Go ahead and scan that and join our Weather Nation team. All right, let's get you over to David Brody now. David, good morning.
Good morning, T. Bates. So, as we've been talking about, the House is set to vote on the release of the Epstein files later tonight. The measure now has President Trump's support. Over the weekend, the president clarified that we have nothing to hide, is what he said, and that it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax. Here he was speaking on the issue yesterday. Have a look.
We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others. They're all Democrats.
All right, joining us now with analysis is the editor-in-chief for Just the News. That would be our good friend, John Solomon. So, John, I guess I'm assuming Republicans are all going to vote yes. We had Congressman Mark Alford on. He thought it was going to be pretty unanimous. So what happened here exactly? I mean, it seems to me that the president saw that the train was leaving the station and he got on board.
Yeah, listen, I think the president has never believed that the women's allegations are a hoax. He believes the idea to connect him to Epstein is the hoax. So he's always been supportive of the women. In fact, by his own account, he kind of cut off relations with Epstein when he heard some unseemly things or heard something about the women from his own country clubs being hired there and not being happy. So this is not about the women. This is about President Trump wanting the American people to hear about what the Republicans are doing, lowering egg prices, lowering gas prices, lowering prescription drugs, getting illegal aliens out of the country, securing insecure cities that have been overrun by crime, building a foreign policy that brings peace across the world. And instead, for the last 9 months, continuously, both Democrats and aided often by Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others, they have kept the discussion alive on this side. And I have said many times, we're not going to get a lot of revelations from these documents. Why? Because most of them have already been released by the courts. And those that haven't are covered by grand jury secrecy, and even Congress can't overcome the grand jury rule. So what's going to get sent out is not going to be a big, giant batch of big revelatory documents. And I'll give you a little sense of just the lack of understanding on the Republican side. So if you look at the MTG Trump text message MTG put out over the weekend, she was trying to make the case to the president, look, Bill Clinton went to the island, or went on, Jeffrey Epstein's plane 27 times. That's why I wanted these documents out. That's great, except when the documents came out, that was the 90th time that 27 flight revelation came out. The first time that we knew that Bill Clinton took 27 flights was all the way back in 2016. So many of the people arguing and causing this to stay in the bubble of public discussion don't even know what's been out or what isn't out. And so you step back from this and the president says, hey, I'm not going to get my message through. I'm not going to be able to explain to people until I fix this problem. And that's what happened.
Hey, John, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you mentioned MTG, and we're just hearing that she's speaking right now about Epstein victims. Let's listen into some of what she's saying.
I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me. And I want to tell you that this only became possible today because the American people, whom we serve as representatives here in Congress, demanded that this vote happen, and they put more pressure on every single elected politician in this city than has ever been put on them. And today you are going to see probably a unanimous vote in the House to release the Epstein files, but the real fight will happen after that. While I want to see every single name released so that these women don't have to live in fear and intimidation, which is something I've had a small taste of in just the past few days, just a small taste. They've been living it for years. But the real test will be, will the Department of Justice release the files? Or will it all remain tied up in investigations? Will the CIA release the files? Will a judge in New York release the information? That's information that needs to come out. And will the list of names that these women privately hold, and they hold it because of their fear in their heart of what would happen to them if they release it on their own, will that list of names come out? That's the real test. So I want to thank Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna for your bravery in doing something that is much needed in America, crossing the political aisle that has become bigger than the Grand Canyon in America. But these men crossed that aisle on behalf of these women. And that is more of what is needed today in America than ever in our history. So thank you so much. Who's next? Ro, I'll let you introduce.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marjorie, Representative Greene, for your...
So you were just listening to Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene as the House is going to vote on this discharge petition. She obviously was there with victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Let's bring back in John Solomon and the rest of the team as well, David and Dr. Gina. John, your initial response to all of this as we kind of take in what we just heard from the Congresswoman.
It would have been nice if a news conference like that occurred in 16 or 18 or 20 or 21 when I was doing the reporting and when Christine Dolan was doing the reporter and other people. This is sort of Johnny-come-latelys trying to pretend now that they care about those women. No one cared about those women back in 2008 when the Bush Justice Department gave them a sweetheart deal. And there wasn't a whole lot of clamoring back in 2019 when the Trump Justice Department re-indicted Epstein, leading to his suicide in prison. So there's a lot of people coming now that, one, don't know even what's been released in the public, and two, getting a lot of political mileage out of it now, but they weren't there for the women at 8 or 12 or 15 or 16 or 20 or 21 when reporters like myself and others, the Wall Street Journal and Christine Dolan, did really significant work on these women. So it's great that they're going to go. Here's what's going to happen. The vote will happen today. It'll be a pretty large vote in the House, maybe unanimous, pretty close to unanimous. It's unclear whether it will get in the Senate. John Newman has not made a commitment yet.
John, the victims are speaking right now. We want to go back to that really quickly. Stand by, please. Thank you.
An incredible thing that I'm watching as a Republican, and this is non-political, but for you to go against your own party and to be ostracized. There's no place for political violence. There's no place for intimidation. And I can say firsthand, stepping out against Epstein and his crimes against children, we have all experienced that ourselves. So for you to knowingly put yourselves at risk and put your career at risk is unbelievable to watch, and we are so grateful. I also want to make a proposition for Marjorie Taylor Greene, because you've been an advocate for this. If you decide to read those names on the House floor for immunity, I will be more than happy No security needed. I will stand beside you. I will hold your hand. I will hold your coat in solidarity with you. And on top of that, I did talk to Jayapal, who said she would be more than happy to read those names too on the floor with all of us. It's time that we put the political agendas and party affiliations to the side. This is a human issue. This is about children. There is no place in society for exploitation, sexual crimes, or exploitation of women in society. There's no room for it, guys. We're not having it. And to the President of the United States of America, who is not here today, I want to send a clear message to you. While I do understand that your position has changed on the Epstein files, and I'm grateful that you have pledged to sign this bill, I can't help to be skeptical of what the agenda is. So, with that being said, I want to relay this message to you. I am traumatized. I am not stupid. I am traumatized. I am not stupid. You have put us through so much stress, the lockdowns, the halt of these procedures that were supposed to have happened 50 days ago. The Adelita Grijalva who waited to get sworn in, and then get upset when your own party goes against you because what is being done is wrong. It's not right. For your own self-serving purposes, this is America. This is land of the free. Land of the free. In 1863, we have a woman on top of the Capitol building represent freedom. I do not feel free today. I don't know if the women behind me feel free today. So I am begging every member of Congress, every representative, to step up and choose the chaos, choose the survivors, choose the children, protect the children, all children. You protect all of us equally. Thank you very much for your time. Following that, Lisa Phillips will be the next survivor.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Phillips. It's an honor to stand here again for something America is finally united on: the immediate release of the entire Epstein files. In a divided nation, this is one demand we all share. Last time I stood here, I made a promise to all survivors watching. If those in power refused to release the truth, we would start uncovering it ourselves. For anyone who doubted that, that moment has already arrived. Since that day, more survivors across the country and around the world have reached out. Text, emails, DMs, firsthand accounts, and evidence. Many are women who were abused or trafficked through the international modeling pipeline Epstein built, promising visas, apartments, opportunities, futures, while exploiting their dreams for abuse. Most are still terrified to speak publicly because the men involved are powerful. They're connected, and as we know, they're protected. For too long, survivors have watched others speak for us. And while we are grateful for our allies in Congress on both sides, we've realized something. This fight belongs to us. We lived it, and we know the truth. And we will not wait quietly for institutions to decide when we're allowed to speak. The survivors now coming forward have entrusted us with their stories. We are sharing that information with the proper authorities, and when it can safely be made public, it will be. So today, we are launching something historic. The first national, survivor-led political movement in America. Nonpartisan, laser-focused on exposing the systems, the loopholes, power structures, and silencing mechanisms that have protected predators for far too long. We are stepping directly into the halls of power, into the political arena. We will help rewrite laws that failed us and build protections for our nation's children together, targeted by sexual exploitation. Together, today, survivors begin our own fight, the survivor revolution. And we intend to change this nation for the better. If you're a survivor, who wants to join us, please reach out. And to anyone who benefits from the current system, intentionally or not, remember this. Alone, yes, we are afraid. But together, we are feared. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I am Jenna Lisa Jones, and just as Haley, I would just like to give a little reminder that this was me at 14 years old. I was a child. I was in 9th grade. I was hopeful for life and what the future had held for me. He stole a lot from me at 14. So just a little reminder there for everybody. Sorry. So, I just want to start out by saying thank you for all of you for being here today. I want to start by expressing my deepest gratitude to the members of Congress who have stood with us, the survivors, in demanding the transparency and justice. Your support is a signal that this institution can still serve the American people. This issue was never one that should have divided us the way it has. In fact, it should have united us. Sexual abuse is not a Republican issue. It is not a Democratic issue. It is also not a hoax. We are here as American survivors of a man who used his wealth and power to hurt young girls and women. The world should see the files to know who Jeffrey Epstein was and how the system catered to him and failed us. Emotionally, this process has been distressing. First, the administration said it would release everything and applauded President Trump for that. Then it fought to release nothing. Now that checks and balances of our democracy have worked and the bill is getting passed to release the files, we are hearing the administration say they intend to investigate various Democrats who were friends with Epstein. I beg you, President Trump, please stop making this political. It is not about you, President Trump. You are our president. Please start acting like it. Show some class. Show some real leadership. Show that you actually care about the people other than yourself. I voted for you, but your behavior on this issue has been a national embarrassment. It is time to take the honest, moral ground and support the release of these files, not to weaponize pieces of the files against random political enemies that did nothing wrong, but to understand who Epstein's friends were, who covered for him, what financial institutions allowed his trafficking to continue, who knew what he was doing but was too much of a coward to do anything about it. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were able to recruit and abuse young girls and women. Then the country will learn nothing, and has horrible history will repeat itself if we do not do something about this. Thank you to the brave congressmen and women who have stood by us and recognized our side is the American side, and we should all be proud once again to be Americans. I want to just extend my thank you so much to all three of you very, very much. The first time we were here, listening to the, people yell shame at you, and when she was here in support of us, really hit home and spoke some volumes, and I just very much appreciative of your support, and we stand by you. Don't let any of them bully you. We're here for you. Thank you, guys.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming together today and taking the time to listen to us. Your presence means the world, and it shows commitment to understanding and supporting survivors and Americans. I stand before you today with a heavy heart. I originated from Brazil, and I came to the United States when I was 8 years old. I was only 14 when I first encountered Jeffrey Epstein, and my daughter is now almost at that age. At 14, the only things she should be concerned with are going to school, practicing at her cheerleading competitions, and enjoying her time with her friends and family. She should not have to bear the burden of worrying about being manipulated or exploited. At this age, she is still a child, and no child should ever have to face such threats. I also want to address a troubling statement made by a prominent figure on a major platform who suggested that a 14-year-old should not be considered a victim of pedophilia. This is a dangerous and incorrect notion. When we talk about how children at 14 should still be treated as children, I ask you to look at the young people around you. Remember when you were that age? Do you think you should have been responsible for being groomed? Put yourselves in our position when we were young. I'm here today not to just share my story, but to call on all of you to help make a difference. We need to support to push for the Transparency Act and release the Epstein files. Please reach out to your Congress members and senators and urge them to support this crucial legislation. The truth is something that we all deserve, and it is vital for safety and protection of the future of generations. Think about all the young people in your life, your daughters, your nieces, your friends. Let's stand together and ensure that they grow up in a world where they are safe and valued. I often wondered, why did this happen to me? And then I realized, God only gives you what you can handle. I'm here for a purpose, and that purpose is to make a difference today. So, let's stand together to protect our children and our peace. Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning.
So you've been listening to the victims of Jeffrey Epstein's, I'm going to call it terror. He terrorized these young women, and you just heard some of their stories. Let's bring in Dr. Gina and David to talk a little bit more about that. Also, momentarily, we're going to go into the rotunda there in Congress and get with our congressional correspondent, Beni Rae Harmony. That's going to happen momentarily. Dr. Gina, I want to give you the first opportunity to react to all of what you just heard. And I want to give you this opportunity, Dr. Gina, because just moments ago, you pointed out to all of us that you have to see where Jeffrey Epstein lived, that you see that on a daily basis, and it still brings back some of those thoughts. And now hearing those stories, I would imagine that the emotions are ratcheted up that much more.
Yeah, and I think we all have, our own series of childhood traumas probably behind us that inform our opinions right now. It's a mix of emotions for our audience, for MAGA in general, for America First in general, in terms of, look, a lot of people have spent their time and talent and tears electing this administration and believing it was going to make such a difference. And some of those people see this as a distraction, and they don't want a distraction because they want to win midterms and continue to do good things. And that's so understandable. On the other hand, too, though, for these women, Joe Biden, all the presidents before, did nothing to help them. And here they are now with this opportunity to have some closure in all of this. And from their perspective, it's understandable as well. So my best approach to all of this, Terrence, first of all, thank God for Rav to tell the truth, to speak about it even when it's scary, right? And to not be afraid to go where no other news networks, by the way, will go. So kudos to our leadership with Rob Sig and everyone else. So I want to start there. But secondly, I want to say, can we please give grace at this time to people who might be misstepping, might be misspeaking, might be over-emotional for things that are very meaningful and deep to them? And can we not engage in circular fire just for a moment, just long enough to hear and see this through? David, Brody, that's my biggest, most constructive thought at this moment.
David, can I just say one thing here really quickly?
Go ahead.
And I don't want to ignore you, but we do want to bring in Rav congressional correspondent Beni Rae Harmony, who is there at the U.S. Capitol. David, if you'll offer her first question, let's do it that way. Are you okay with that?
Oh, well, Beni, just take it away. Good. What do you got? I mean, you've been hearing this. This is obviously pretty emotional, obviously. And quite frankly, a lot of them were trashing Trump. I mean, let's just be honest. And the media's got their sound bites for tonight's nightly news cast, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, we are currently right here in the Cannon Rotunda And we can see the victims down there speaking. And this is a very, very emotional day here on Capitol Hill for Democrats, for Republicans all across the aisle. And I think we're going to see some very eye-opening things tonight. I spoke with Steve Gruber yesterday about some of these internal communications from congressional offices, feeding us some of this knowledge that we can expect lots of people not to vote on this that we may have thought would vote on this. But that is the main thing here on Capitol Hill today. But there are a few other things. You know, Senator Lindsey Graham, he just came out and announced that he will, in regards to the Jack Smith January 6th hoax, that the Republicans did something wrong. Senator Lindsey Graham is going to be introducing legislation that actually expands these provisions that they put inside a CR bill that allows all Americans, anyone who is targeted by the weaponized DOJ, to sue the government. And they say that this is our right. And so there are a lot of huge things coming on Capitol Hill today, but we are seeing a divide between the House and the Senate, and we're not sure how that is going to go about and if these two parties and two chambers can agree on some of these things.
Rav, congressional correspondent Beni Rae Harmony reporting for us there in the Capitol. Thank you so much for your thoughts there. David, want to get back to you and allow you to finish your thought. I apologize for interrupting, but we also did want to bring in Beni. Your thoughts, give us your assessment of what we just heard from these victims.
As it relates to what our audience is all about and what the RAV ownership does and making sure that your voice is heard. I mean, I think that's the most important part of this, because we've been there all along as it relates to covering of the Epstein files and making sure that there was full transparency. And so that's really what this is ultimately about. Two things can be true at the same time. I mean, it can be a Democrat hoax and political stunt in terms of what they're doing, because they don't have any moral integrity in this at all. I mean, that is 1,000,000% true.
Yes.
And at the same time, we've got to call it out. This was it didn't need to be this way. It didn't need to be a whole big distraction. They should have had this vote a long time ago and then moved on. And when I say moved on, I don't mean move on with the issue or negating what these women are going through. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about from a political standpoint, they could have moved on to the next bill, the next thing that they've got to get going. But the Republicans shot themselves in the foot here. They dragged it out way too long, and it started right at the top at the White House. And it didn't need to be this way. It just didn't. And that's the truth.
Guys, we'll obviously be talking much more about this throughout the day and throughout this show, but we do have to take a quick break here on American Sunrise. When we come back, a new poll shows that most Americans back the deal that ended the 43-day government shutdown last week. The question is, which political party do they believe came out on top? We'll try to answer that question for you next.